Hey everyone, it's Michael from Notefolds, and today I'm going to show you how to make this Rose Wonder all occasion card. You can see that I've kind of left it blank right now so you can use your imagination to fill it in, but the real focal point of this card is this beautiful stained glass rose, and you can see we've got that nice black edging from our Rose Garden thinlet, and then what I think is really cool is that I've sandwiched a piece of vellum in between here, so that it's actually kind of see-through like you would have a stained glass window. So I think it's really cool. It's actually not as hard to make as you might think, just 4 pieces of paper. So let's go ahead and get started. To make this card, you'll just need 4 pieces of paper, your normal A2 base, 8.5 by 5.5 wide, and then 3 pieces each of 5 1/4 by 4 inch, one in black, one in white, and a piece of vellum. The first thing we'll want to do is run our Rose Garden thinlet die through the Big Shot with our black paper. We're going to retain both pieces, and of course the black frame is what's going to make up the stained glass window. Now what you can do alternatively is use some adhesive paper to put onto your black so that way it'll make it easier to place in the end, but of course you could use a fine tip glue marker if you want. And so here it is after I ran it through the Big Shot. Now we're going to retain this piece because it's going to be our stencil for our vellum, but you can put it to the side for now. And then here is the border for the stained glass piece. And you can see on the back I've got that adhesive backing, so that's why I like to use the adhesive sheet. It's going to make it really easy to stick down. The next thing we need to do is punch out our pink and white pieces so that way the vellum can show through like a real stained glass window. And what I did is I put just 2 tiny pieces of tape in the corners of this because we need to punch it all at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and fit this onto our base like you normally would, but since we're only taping it in 2 small places, it'll be easy to take off once we've punched it. And so now all that's left to do is take your thinlet die and then run that through your Big Shot. So here it is after we've run it through the Big Shot. Now with your pink and your white, you're going to end up with these frames. We're not going to use it for this card, but they're definitely something to hang on to because they are nice. But what we are going to use is our base and our first layer. And what we'll end up doing is layering our vellum in between. So we're going to make a sandwich, and that way the vellum acts as the window part of our stained glass, and then our black just fits right inside there. But for now we can put the base and the first layer aside. We're going to keep our vellum out and bring that black piece back in that you punched earlier. And what we're going to use this for is a stencil. And we're going to bring in some colors. So I'm going to use a strawberry slush. I'm also going to use this yo-yo yellow. If you have a similar color, possibly the Daffodil Delight would be a good yellow. We're going to use that for the rose piece. And then for the leaves, you can also use your yellow and maybe a green, like a Cucumber Crush. I think I'm probably going to end up using Wild Wasabi. So I'm going to go ahead and start daubering that, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm going to start with the rose piece, and you can kind of see the edges of where that will be. And if you overlap in the leaves a little bit, it's not really going to make that big of a difference. But I'm going to start with my yellow color, since that is a bit lighter, and we're just going to kind of rub it around very lightly, and I'm going to kind of center the yellow here on my rose. So I'm going to make it heavier kind of in the center, and then we'll just do a little bit lightly on the edges here just for a little bit of a hint of color to show through. Now I do want some yellow on my leaves, so just going to do a little bit kind of in the center of the leaves there. And we'll do one up there for our leaf. I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to put my yellow to the side now, and we'll take my strawberry slush, get that nice and inked up, and we'll start here on the edges, and you can kind of start off the paper and just kind of ink all over it. And with the vellum, it's really easy to smear this ink, which I think helps with kind of blending this together. You can really kind of pull that ink down. We'll just kind of go around the edges here and then we'll feather it more toward the center as we go. Kind of just doing some nice swirls here. And you don't have to worry about this too much because remember, we're going to have the black outline of our stained glass window kind of layered over top of it. So it's really going to break up any kind of pattern that you might end up making in your flower there. I think that looks pretty good. So we'll put that to the side now. And we'll bring in our wild wasabi, or maybe you're using cucumber crush here for the leaves. So we'll just get that one inked up and we'll do the same thing. I think that looks great, that wild wasabi. Just kind of doing it a little bit heavier around the edges. And we're going to try not to go into the rose too much there. And just pull this in. And do our last leaf there. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So what you want to do now is let this dry. You may even want to let it dry maybe for an hour, overnight if you can, because the vellum, it does take a long time for this ink to dry. And if you touch it, it's going to get all over your hands. So just let that dry and then we'll come back and actually assemble it. So we're going to take the base first and then bring in your vellum that's all colored. So this is dry right now. And you're going to put some tape on the back. So you can basically put it on any part that is not colored. And then what you're going to do is just line it up with the hole on the base. And you want to try to be pretty exact here because you want everything that's going to show through to be colored. So that way it has that stained glass look. But of course you'll have the edges of the black stained glass. So that'll cover up any inconsistencies there. So now you have that. The next thing you're going to do is bring in the first layer, so that's our white. And with this one, you are going to have some really close edges here. I mean, this is a big die. So this might have been a candidate to use some of those adhesive sheets. I chose not to. I'm going to just use my two-way glue on here and just cover the entire back of this. So I'm going to do that and I'll come right back. Okay, so I used tape runner and two-way glue here to get that on the white. So now we just need to, again, line this up with the hole, and you'll have the edges of your base to help. And this is why we ran it through the big shot together earlier, is because we want everything to line up nice and evenly. So there we go, that looks great. So our last step is going to be placing the actual edges of our stained glass window here. And you'll remember that I used an adhesive sheet on the back of mine. I've already got it started there for me. But if you wanted, you could use the two-way glue for this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take this backing off and then we're going to place it. So we're just going to very carefully remove this here because this is a very fragile piece with all these thin edges. So you can see this is why using the adhesive sheet is so great, because it comes off nice and clean and we've got plenty of adhesive everywhere. So all we're going to do now is really just fit the black right inside of the white, and it should fit in there very perfectly. So we're just going from one edge to the other edge and then press the whole thing down, and there we go. So that's all done. So we'll just fold our card up here. And of course you'll want to do some more embellishing on the outside edges here. But what's really great is that the fact that it's see-through, so you can see right through that, and it really makes that impression of a stained glass window. Well, I hope you enjoyed making this card. If you attempt it yourself, I'd love to see it. Make sure you post it in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to us, because we'll be posting even more card tutorials in the future. And until next time, we'll see you later.